This is Showtime, a podcast about the people behind the curtain and the stories that shape them. I'm Andrew G, and each week I sit down with creators, leaders and risk takers from the theatre world and beyond. We talk about what they do, why they do it, and what it really takes to keep showing up. I'm joined by Laila Thaker, a versatile actor with credits across stage and screen, including 5 Bedrooms and Wentworth. We're here to talk about all things performance and what Laila brings to the stage and screen, including depth, heart and bold energy to every role she takes on. Welcome to Showtime, Laila Thaker.
Thanks for having me.
Take me back to where it was that you first fell in love with storytelling.
I think my love for theatre probably came from when I was like super young. Me and my brother, because I'm a Torres Strait Islander, Meriam woman on my mother's side, and we grew up with a lot of dances and, you know, cultural dances, and that would be in the context of a family event or some sort of community event or anything like that. So I think that was probably where it started, but not realising that's where it began. I think it's sort of that was the first seed of that theatre sort of stage interaction, you know. But it properly grew and developed in high school. You know, when I was introduced to like a Western performance, and I don't know why I rolled my eyes when I did
But
that.
you did. That was my follow-up question. Why did you roll your eyes when you said Western?
Yeah, self-explanatory. I don't need to explain any of that. Yeah. I think definitely high school.
You mentioned your cultural heritage. How has your culture, which has a deep, deep tradition of storytelling, how do you think that's shaped you as an artist?
It probably shaped me as an artist subconsciously, I think, growing up. I mean, it's weird because I was born in the 80s and 90s, and early 2000s was my sort of coming of age periods. And that was rough, you know. I wasn't nearly as staunch as I was then. I was super like, I mean, we're getting pretty deep 5 minutes in, aren't we,
I know,
Andrew?
right?
It's like a therapy session already.
Oh, it is a therapy session.
Let me just.
Or you need one after this, one or the other.
For a Tuesday. Yeah, no, I mean, it was just, I suppressed, I think, a lot of that growing up in terms of.
You mean you suppressed your cultural identity?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, I never married the two with what I did as an artist and trying to be proud of my heritage and background, and I can bring that to my craft. I separated the two. I kept it very much at home or with family. I never brought it to like, you know, day-to-day life interacting with society. Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with probably the high school. Well, actually, I think anything pop culture at the time was very like, you know,
yeah.
assimilate. So, yeah, it wasn't until maybe like in the last 10 to 15 years I've started to like bridge the two and marry the two together.
And do you think that's inside forces or outside forces or a little bit of both? Or a lot of both?
I think a bit of both, you know. I'm seeing a lot of it with a lot of black fellas on stage, and some amazing works I'm seeing, and you know, it's just inspiring. And I think that's probably where the problem was. I never had as much, you know, we weren't as visible.
Yeah.
So I didn't have those examples of, oh, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can be this, I can be proud of who I am and bring that to the stage, and we can have our stories told on stage, and we can fill out stadiums and theatres and get bums on seats, you know. Black stories don't mean less value. In fact, it's the opposite.
And what's it like being a black female performer in the arts industry in Australia in 2025? I mean, it's obviously different to the 80s and 90s and 2000s, but how different? And is it better different?
I think for me it's about using my platform wisely. You know, I think just saying who I am, what you just called me, you know, I'm quite aware of the intersectionality in that. And so I don't take for granted any opportunity that comes my way, any meaningful connection network I've made in the industry, whether that's been from just somebody introducing me or my accolades or inviting an industry person to to the show that I'm currently doing. I really make the most of any platform and opportunity I'm given, because I'm not only doing it for myself, I'm doing it for like all the black fellas and all the young mob coming up that are looking to seek for pathways into this world and industry. You know, I'm just really conscious. So I think, being a black female or, you know, First Nations person of color, female performer, I think it's just that, just always being conscious and mindful. Anything that you do in the industry. And that also includes like being a part of shows that resonate with you. You know, don't just take any old opportunity. Like, I think in 2025, we actually have a little bit more choice. And I think that's got to do with we're a little bit more educated now. You know, there's a little bit more self-determination going on. That I see that with, you know, works with Ilbidgery Theatre, for example. I'm going on a tangent, but it's all kind of relative. But I witnessed a really sort of groundbreaking collaboration with Ilbidgery and MTC recently. It was Black in the Room, and it was, it showcased a few exciting new shows written by 3 staunch black playwrights. And it was just an incredible, like I went to the opening night and it was just friggin' incredible. And I was honestly like so proud of Melbourne Theatre Company to support that sort of work in their space. Like it was empowering. And I was just so excited to witness that and be a part of that in my lifetime. Do you know what I mean? And I just think, shit, this is where we're at with theatre, like especially for black theatre, black artists. Like it's exciting.
How does it make you feel if you're referred to as a role model and an ambassador? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Is it pressure? Is it
not pressure. I think that little bit of imposter syndrome comes through. But I'm starting to, I guess, be comfortable and step into my power. And I feel like I have to now because I'm a mother, so I am a role model by default.
Yeah.
You know, I guess for me, I'm really, oh goodness me, I'm stumbling here. I think for me, I just want to be a good role model to myself or to my younger self even. You know, if I can do that, then that's all that I need to do.
What piece of advice would you want to give a young First Nations person watching or listening to this conversation we're having right now?
I think I would honestly just say, I mean, it sounds cliche, but just be proud of who you are. Hug yourself, be kind to yourself, and just know your power. Like you are a powerful person. And you're the result of strong, amazing warrior ancestors before you. Like you are the product of that, and that doesn't go away. It's within you. So, just let's unlock that. Step into your power is basically probably my advice.
And are there stories that you feel a responsibility to be telling as part of your body of work?
I mean, not personally, I guess for myself, it probably would just be my own family and my own sort of bloodlines to be a part of that. But I'm also conscious that I should be out here supporting other black voices and stories. Because we talk about allies and things like that, but blackfellas need to be allies to other blackfellas too. Yeah. You know, we need to be allying each other because we've done enough of that for whitefellas.
Yeah. Do you think there's something missing in that sense of community?
I mean, maybe there's pockets of mob that have probably lost their way.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, you know. Yeah, there's diversity within diversity. We already know that. And you can come in and out of that as much as you want. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I think it's a big question you've asked me, and I can't it'll take me a lifetime to answer it,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah. Right now you're working on Super at Red Stitch Actors Theatre in
What a
St Kilda.
segue, Andrew.
There was, you know what, there was no smooth, I was running through all the options in my mind. There was no smoother way to do it than
Super
just to
answer, Layla.
cut and run.
Speaking of super.
Nice. Do you want to swap roles?
Yeah, Layla G here today.
Tell me about Super.
I've got a synopsis on my phone. Can I
Okay.
read that out?
Yeah.
Because my words will not do it justice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Your best voiceover voice.
Okay. Super by Emily Collier. The synopsis is Phoenix and Nell, I'm playing Nell, have superpowers. Not the boys with toys kind. Quiet, slow powers. Administration and diffusing anger. They run a support group in the hope of attracting more people like them. When celebrity chef Ray shows up, Nell is delighted and Phoenix is skeptical. Ray does have a superpower though, which I won't say what it is right now. And then things take off and there's some other things that happen, but I don't want to give any more spoilers. But basically, Super grapples with the pressures of late capitalism on individuals, particularly feminized bodies. And it sort of explores these ideas that productivity and achievement equals value in a human being. There's some really big themes in this show, actually. So, yeah, that's kind of it, summed up.
What do you think makes the story such an important one to be telling right now?
I think the most important thing about this show is that it's actually a really absurd work, and it's kind of quite – I feel like it's in the family of escapism. And because the world currently is burning down, this kind of show is needed for us. We can't be on stage with all the answers, but we can certainly make ourselves feel better, right?
Absolutely we can. Absolutely. But this show, from what I've read, is a real balance between social commentary and also
Totally.
comedy.
Totally.
How do you think they work together in this show?
Look, I think Emily's just a genius.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know how she's done it. But Emily's just an incredible writer. And every time I read, not just the script, but when she's, talking about the show, interviews I've seen her do, I'm like, damn, Emily.
Yeah.
Emily Collier for Prime Minister at this point.
And there are these real sort of conflicts in the themes of the show, like, comedy and social commentary and care and power.
Yeah.
That shouldn't go together, but somehow do.
I think the way it's that she's done that is she's really cleverly written these three characters, and she's kind of distributed certain things to them, and then we sort of see how they interact with each other, and then therein lies the conflict and the resolution, and and I don't know, I feel like you can always sort of tie big ideas and trauma and things like that in comedy with a big bow, a nice bow. So I think it's that layer of comedy that helps get these ideas through and this story out.
I commented that the play is a critique commentary on how our society measures worth, measures value, and how that resonates with you.
Yeah, I think it probably resonates for me in the sense of, I'd probably just give the example of how we look at people in the social work or grassroots sort of community sector sort of industry, they're the ones doing really amazing work. So I think for me, they're the most powerful people. They're the most people with the most value, but yet politicians, celebrities, we sort of value these types of people. So I think for me, it's I think it just resonates for me of how I'm viewing people differently in those spaces.
Are you referring to people like emergency first responders, nurses, teachers?
Sure.
Yep.
Sure, even just volunteers, I go down to my local Savers and I see the volunteer people there, what's their value? Why do people devalue them because they're working at Savers and not a high-end Armadale store, So Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like getting a few different cogs in my brain moving in how I'm looking at people in certain industries.
Yeah. What do you hope audiences take away from the show as they're walking back to their cars?
I think just appreciating the small things from each other. Someone taking the time to have a conversation with you, somebody asking you how you're going, somebody, buying you a chocolate croissant when you've had a shit morning. I don't know. It's all the little things, right?
When's the last time someone bought you a chocolate croissant when you were having a shit morning, and would you like one now?
It was myself. It was myself to
self-care.
me.
It's important.
I feel exposed.
I feel let down. At 51 years old, I don't think I've ever had anyone buy me a chocolate croissant when they thought I had a bad day.
Listeners, somebody buy Andrew G a chocolate croissant immediately.
Just one. Speaking of tangents.
Not a cinnamon scroll.
God, no, a chocolate croissant. You've set an expectation. The bar's here now.
Where do we go from here?
I was creating silence just to see what happened. If you had a real superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
I'd probably just want to clone myself. So I could just be me in the world, and then there would be another me that could just sleep. I'd be the sleep bank Laila.
Yeah.
So then the Laila in the real world doing all the things is very well rested, very focused, very present.
4 years ago, before you were a mum, would you have had the same answer?
No way. No way. I would have said something stupid like, I don't know, flying.
Yeah. Two things become really, really precious when you have kids, as we both have.
What are they?
I think time and rest. And time and rest, and within rest there's self-care and all of that stuff. Because if you can't be healthy within, you can't be
give anything to your child. 100%.
Yeah. It's sort of like the old, and I'm not making a direct connection between a plane crash and parenting, but it's like when it can be when the mask comes down, you put yours on before you look up, because you've got to look after yourself in order to give the best care to the kids. 100%.
100%. And my son Kadal, he's 2 now, so he's at that age where he's exhausting me. Yeah, you can't sit down. What are you sitting down for?
Yeah.
I can't even sit and eat on my own. He has to eat what I'm eating. He has to, if I'm sitting down, I'm a playground. He's jumping off me.
Yep.
All the things.
All the things.
But this is the thing, right? I was talking to my husband about this too, because we're trying to trick ourselves with feeling more rested. And we're looking at things like dopamine. Because what's giving us dopamine? Sitting down, resting, scrolling on your phone, having your chocolate croissant. That's what we need in order to, if we give ourselves that, then we can attend to our child. But actually, we don't even have time to do that. So we're kind of incorporating now, what if hanging out with my child, reading him a bedtime story, giving him a bath, taking him to the park, whatever that is, spending time with my child, that's the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And that's actually helping me.
Yeah.
Especially doing this show, Super. Hey, there's the segue.
Nice.
I've realized this is my first show since having a child. Used to do a lot of theatre before. God, I was so naive then. Weren't we all?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, oh my God, I think it was week 1. I was exhausted. I was like, holy crap. Like, as soon as I get home, I have to go straight to like the bedtime routine, and I'm exhausted. But I've got to learn lines and got to redo all the blocking and the notes that were given, rah, rah, rah. So, I'm having to like trick my brain and try and feed my, feed my energy somehow, and I'm getting it from my child.
Yeah.
Rather than sitting down, reading a book, doing the things that we would do childless.
So in the context of what you just said and circling back to something
I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think I gave enough keywords in there to make sense.
Absolutely you did. And circling, spoken like the parent of a 2-year-old. But circling back to what we were talking about before, do you think as a society we're valuing the wrong things?
Totally. But also I guess it depends on the people you surround yourself with. Because I would say yes, but the people I surround myself with, I would say no.
So when you say yes but not the people I surround myself with, who does the yes apply to? Without naming names.
GP. The general public, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tricky with the algorithms on social media. It's hard to navigate that at the moment, what's real, what's not.
You mean because you tend to get stuff that's aligned with your worldview? Is that what you mean?
Or the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? I think being a creative, you're really lucky because your brain's a little different already and you're having different conversations. You're breaking down things differently. You're a little, you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get thrust into the outside world where you have to deal with the public and then you realize, oh, okay, I'm in a bubble here, you know? So there's some point in there somewhere. I don't know if we're going to make it right now, but there's food for thought.
Is there something that you wish that people who aren't in our performing arts world would understand about what it is to be a performer, a creative, an artist? Because it's not what they see on stage. What they see on stage is a very small part of what you do.
Here's probably a fun example, right? Because I've been an actor for a while. There's no one in my family that's an actor. I'm like the lone wolf, the black sheep, whatever you want to call it. And so there was no examples in the family, rah, rah, rah. So I went off and did that and my family was very like, not thinking that was a good choice, life decision. So I'd done what I'd done and then until, I was doing all these incredible shows. I did some Shakespeare stuff, Sarah Kane, did all these fun things on stage and some of my family members would come and see me and support me. Most didn't. It was only until I did a television commercial and all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, you've made it. You're a success. I think being an actor is incredible. I don't know. But at the same time, cool. Thanks for recognizing that. But where were you at the theatre show that I spent months and pouring my heart and soul and, anyway. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
And how long ago was that? Because TV used to be the main way we would consume communication, entertainment, information, all of that, whereas that's not so much the way we do it.
No, it's like a brainwashing tool now, isn't it?
It is. But also most people, I think, don't watch free-to-air TV or even whatever's broadcast there and then. Yep.
Yeah.
It's either watch it, stream it later, or watch something completely different.
Yeah.
So do you think today...
But ads have a way of sneaking up on you.
They do.
It's not just watching a free-to-air show. It's integrated into anytime this screen is in your face, you will see a commercial of some kind.
Do you think that the commercial still has that credibility that you mentioned before with that's how people recognize people who are performers because they do an ad? Because I think that used to be a thing. I mean, even back in the early days of television, Don Lane, Graham Kennedy, all of those people who they made their careers talking about Tarax lemonade and cold power laundry detergent and all of those things. and happened to put in a little bit of entertainment along the way. I mean, they were the first influencers in Australia.
Totally. But different time now. Like, I'll do an ad because, well, one, it's kind of fun. It's one day's work for a lovely payoff. But that's kind of what it is now. I do it just for the money. And I guess they're sort of doing it for the money too, you know.
Yeah.
Certain campaigns for certain brands. That's a totally different business to what we're doing on stage.
Yeah. And especially somewhere like Red Stitch, which it's about the work. It's about the art. It's about the story.
100%. Red Stitch is so unique in that regard as a theatre. It's producing a lot of amazing work. There's like such a gorgeous team behind Red Stitch. I have a lot of respect for Red Stitch. This is my first show with them. I've never had any interaction other than being a punter. And how that came about too. Yeah, I'm just throwing myself some questions here.
Go on.
I did a show a couple of years ago at Malthouse Theatre called The Return by John Harvey. And it was an incredible, you know, First Nations show, won Green Room Awards, best ensemble work. Anyway, I had wanted to make a connection with Red Stitch. So I asked my agent to send an industry invite ticket to Ella, artistic director of Red Stitch. And she came along to a matinee and we connected after the show and had a good chat. And then, a few weeks later, I got an email via my agent saying, would you like to be involved in a few creative developments for this show called Super, written by Emily Collier and directed by Emma Valente? And I was like, yeah. But, you know, like I feel like that's how you can make meaningful connections in this world. I don't know where we got to from that.
But that's the thing, isn't it? And you know, you were talking about family members who saw you in a TV commercial.
Yeah.
And that sort of comes back to, you know, this label, an overnight success. Well, you're an overnight success because they saw you on a TV ad and you'd been working really hard on your craft and on your networking for many, many years before that.
Yeah, you kind of have to dual track, I think, in this industry.
Yeah.
Because if the ad is going to get your family and community and friends to like turn their heads towards you, then so be it. You know, who knows? They might come to the show, you know? So, but it's not even about that, you know, it's just, I think in order to feel comfortable and deem yourself successful in this industry, you've just got to be patient with yourself. There's no such thing as an overnight success, in my opinion. Like even that ad that I did, like that was years coming to that. It wasn't just a random, you know. Yeah. So I think it's truly just be patient and have fun. And also you have no idea what's around the corner. No idea. I recently did a TV series. I don't know if I can say it yet.
Just a TV series.
It's a TV series. It's in its third series. And it was my first ever series regular role. And I was pretty fresh mum, you know, and sort of having a little existential crisis of where do I belong in this industry now? Who's going to hire me? I'm breastfeeding. I'm, you know, whatever it is, just all the things. And then this role came along and I could not have predicted it. But it was just all the things working in the background, you know, that then the universe has a funny way. Whatever manifestations you're doing at home, just keep doing that because something will seriously turn up.
I don't know if you heard that, but there's something weird going on up there.
The apocalypse is outside.
You've done a lot of big budget TV shows and TV commercials. What is it that keeps you coming back to independent theatre? That's
the key element of what's keeping your craft or your acting muscle fit, you know. You don't learn too much from film and television, in my opinion, apart from the networks you're making. There's a lot about the scripts and the stories that change a lot. It's really hard to follow anyway because, you know, you're only coming in for your scene and out and rah. Theatre, you get to be part of this incredible rehearsal process. You do these incredible things with your body, with your mind, with your heart even. and you go through a journey, and it's hard not to come out of a theatre production feeling like you've evolved as an actor, as an artist, as a creative. It might be a shit experience, but either way you've evolved, right? You just don't get that with film and television. So that's probably the main reason why I keep coming back to theatre, and it's where I started as well too. So, and it makes me happy. It releases endorphins and dopamine and all the things. So, I love it.
Laila and I are talking about all sorts of things, including Super, that opens on the 18th of June at Red Stitch Actors Theatre in St Kilda. For more info and for tickets, go to redstitch.net. Thank you so much for coming into the studio, and it was a really fun chat.
It was fun, super deep.
A little bit random at times.
I love it.
But great fun.
Yeah, unhinged.
Chookers for the season.
Thanks, Andrew.